neck and neck, and this is the money round now, and you can see Shane attacks it early, just regathers himself there.
Yeah.
Shane Flowers hits that.
No more, it's getting heavy.
Wow.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is episode 3? Episode 3 of the bicep repair series. So as of today, we're actually just gone 4 weeks post-surgery now. So the arm is feeling really good. Got full range of motion back in it now. Just started to reload it as well. It's really weak at the moment, but other than that, things are going really good. So I'll show you a bit more about what I've been doing with my rehab and everything like that in this video, and we'll also kind of fill in the blanks as to where I've been. So I think the last video we did was 5 days post-op, so between 5 days and 4 weeks what we've been doing, and this will also kind of give an insight into anyone else that's doing or has been through this type of thing as well. It's going to allow you to kind of gauge where you're at and compare it to where I've been. So let's get started. All those like nights that I had training by myself before Worlds, just like me and her, and I'd be finishing my session on the air bike, and I'd look out the door and she's just like these two little eyes staring at you at like midnight. It's terrifying. That's why she's the size she is now. She's been eating stuff that she shouldn't. Okay, so we are 4 weeks post-surgery now, and from the 4 week mark, we've started to reload the bicep. So depending on who you listen to, the research out there, there's varying opinions on when you should actually start to reload the bicep. Now, for me, the bicep was feeling good around week 3. I waited for the 4th week to really kind of get started with it. And I've started, as you can see, seriously light with my 1 kilo dumbbells. But the protocol that we've got in place, I'll actually outline the literature and the study that we're using to kind of navigate our training. I'll put it in the caption of this video. But essentially, 3 times a week now, I'm doing 2 exercises. So the first one is just some very simple isometrics. So with no weight to start off with, and then I've started using the 1s, and then I've progressed up to the 2s and the 3 kilo dumbbells. With varying grips, you will do pronated, neutral, and supinated, and varying angles as well. So say this is 0, that's 90. I would do 30 seconds at 60, 30 seconds at 90, 30 seconds at 120, and I'll do that for 2 sets. So that's the first exercise, and genuinely, very easy. Didn't struggle with that in the slightest, not even with my nerves. Like, obviously it's quite a scary thing to re-bend your arm for the first time post-surgery, but that was kind of like a nice gentle introduction. And then the second exercise, using some blood flow restriction cuffs, I'll pop this on the top of my arm here. I'll inflate it up to around 50%, which is, you know, pretty good for these. And I will literally, on the program, he's got me doing hammer curls, 30 reps, rest 30 seconds, and then 3 rounds of 15 reps with 30 seconds rest in between. So quite a lot of volume, 30 reps, then 15, then 15, then 15, 2 sets total. So super light. And again, I would literally start off, to begin with, the first time I did it, I was using my other hand to act as resistance. And then once I did 1 set, I was like, okay, I can jump up to the 1s, then the 2s. And that's how we've sort of been progressing it. So, and I genuinely found once I started doing this, I've already done 2 sessions this week, instant improvement in my range of motion. The bicep just starts to feel way normal again. I'm using it day to day, whereas I used to just be still stuck in this position, even walking around the house or doing whatever. But now I've got full range again. I'm getting that confidence back in the arm. So I like this protocol a lot, and it's one that I would suggest people read up on. Don't just blindly listen to me and take my advice. Speak with the medical professionals, speak with your team that you have, but genuinely speaking, I quite like this protocol that we've got in place. So I would recommend looking into it. So I'm currently already up to 2 kilos, and I'm hoping to progress up to 3 kilos. So we've got 30 seconds in varying positions. So the first one, 60 degrees. So imagine that's 90, that's probably 45, 60's somewhere in the middle. And quite literally, very boring, 30 seconds stood here like this. This is with the neutral grip. And then after this, I will do 90 degrees. So I bring the arm completely up straight like this, and then I'll finish at 120 degrees. So about 30 seconds in each position. Obviously it's dead boring, but first time I did this as well, I started obviously with no weight to begin with, and then the 1 kilo. And I was in the Pure gym, stood in the Pure gym, still at about 140 odd kilos with my arm like this, and I was like, so weird. But I think even from like a mental aspect, this has brought my confidence on big time with the bicep, and actually waking up the next day with not just tendon pain or bone pain that I've been feeling the last couple of days or last couple of weeks, but actually waking up with some good muscle DOMs has been a really nice feeling. So it was a session that I will remember probably for the rest of my life. First time I did that. Probably more memorable than some of the big 400 kilo deadlifts I've done. Honestly, it was I was like tearing up in Pure Gym. Buzzing, yeah. It's just really weak at the moment, but it's to be expected. And we actually measured the arm as well. I don't know what it was before the injury. I probably should have measured it, but I didn't obviously think. And I've lost like 20, 25 kilo in the process, but the arm as of now is 17 inches. So I'm imagining it was probably somewhere around the 20s, the 21s, when I was upwards of about 160 kilo, but a little frail old 150, no, what am I, 138. And then this arm, we'll post up that photo as well. There was one that I did, it was one of my check-in photos with my nutritionist, and it was I think my second or my third week on board with him, and you can just see the muscle wastage on that side. Not just in the bicep, people expect just the bicep to get smaller and to decondition, but it's the whole shoulder girdle. It's the upper back, the trap, the rear delt, the lat, all of that kind of stuff's not being mobilized, it's not being trained, or not directly anyway. So that is the first set, invigorating stuff. And then the second set I will do with a supinated grip. So that's obviously just hand to the ceiling. Now it's worth mentioning, this is actually an area that I've been very weak on anyway. I think this is partly due to why I got injured, because with my good hand, my supination's terrible. I should be completely hand up like that, but obviously when I'm just standing there rotating, that's not great. And obviously when I tried to mix grip and axle, I've had to over crank that arm even more. So I need to work on my supination anyway, but to begin with, we just need to start loading this bicep again. So this one was a bit sketchy doing for the first time, but I mean, that is my full range of motion at the moment. I mean, when you compare it to the other one, we're near enough there, and you can really feel that tendon. It was a nerve-wracking feeling your tendon for the first time. And the first session I did of this, honestly, I woke up the next morning, my bicep was fucking so sore with my little 2 kilo workout. This is generally, like, it gets easier every single session. This is way easy now. I think half of it's just not just physical rehab though, is it? It's getting that confidence back in that joint again. Mentally learning that your bicep's actually okay. It's not going to ping off again. So 60 degrees. This one was the trickiest. 90 degrees, that's the most vulnerable joint position for it to be in. But yeah, I'll probably jump up to the 3 kilo dumbbell next. So 30-ish seconds on this, and then 30-ish seconds at 120 degrees. Here's me with my little 2 kilo dumbbell, and you got, what's in there at the moment? Oh, it's 110.5. I stood in this very spot pretty much a year ago, wasn't it? With 135 over my head with one hand. I must have been really active this time last year, because I keep getting, I'll do the 120 degrees now. I keep getting throwbacks like on my stories. And it's like, this time last year you were doing this, and it was like 190 logs, 135 dumbbells, and now I'm here with a fucking bag of sugar basically. But did the maths on, obviously, because this tendon, this distal bicep tendon on the right side, it's been an issue for 2 years now. We did the maths, it's cost me around 15 grand in missed prize money due to, like Europe's 2022, when it nearly went on the stones. Britain's this year nearly went on the stones. So I've missed 2 Giants Live podiums and around 15 grand in prize money and bonuses as a result of this tendon. So for anyone that's interested, my surgery, 4,528. And probably you can add another 1,000 on imaging, consults and everything else. And that's just getting the injury fixed. That's not even getting into the rehab side of things. So all the gadgets, all the gizmos, everything like that, all in, I'm probably about 8 grand in the hole. But in my head, I've spent 8 grand and I'm not going to lose any more money on this bicep anymore. So what have we done? That is neutral, supination, and then pronation. So my pronation is also really bad. Pronation's palm down. This one I was actually weaker at than the other two, and my mobility is just a bit limited to some extent. But 30 seconds at this 60 degree, and I can feel that. Easier than what it was the other day though. Twice a session, 3 times a week, and then that's one of the first exercises. The second exercise is when I get the blood flow restriction cuffs on, and just do loads of reps basically. I'll probably go with the 3 kilo today. And then that's pretty much it that we're doing directly on the bicep anyway. I'm still doing some flexion extension work on my forearm to kind of keep the hand, the wrist and the forearm mobilized and try and regain some strength as well. And then you've got all the cross education stuff that I'm doing as well. So for anyone that doesn't know, cross education is basically, it's a principle that training the uninjured side, so training my left side, my shoulder, my lat, my bicep, tricep, everything on that side through some kind of neural pathway will help mitigate the deconditioning and atrophy on this side. So by not training this bicep, the tricep, the lat, everything else is kind of shrinking. Training this side will help prevent that or mitigate it to some extent, but it's not going to keep everything. So we are just trying to cling on to as much of that tissue as we possibly can whilst we're rehabbing. And there's other things that I'm doing as well to kind of help that. The nutrition is obviously helping, keeping my nutrition where it should be, optimizing everything on that end. And then also even things like the electrical stimulation that we'll show in a minute is basically like a Thames machine is the best way to describe it. And I'll bang that onto the pec, anywhere on this area, pec, shoulder, bicep, tricep, and it just basically provides a stimulus where you're not actually going through any kind of contraction. So again, just trying to hold on to tissue as much as I can. So that's it for that. Going to get the gun out now and show you the damage. So as you can see, I mean, I am about 138 now, and when the night that I got injured, I was 157. So I was quite chunky, and obviously I'm still training this side, and there's a little bit, you can probably even see the difference in tissue. It's just melted away like that. But it's getting back there again. Basically, this K-tape doesn't really do much in terms of the muscle, but for like lymphatic draining and getting rid of swelling, bruising, it's been really handy. And I'm wearing it whilst I'm training as well. So I'll cycle between wearing K-tape whilst I'm training, keep it on for a day or two, and then it will come off. And then I'm obviously still doing some scar mobilization, so I don't even know if you can see the scar at the moment. It's there, it's so small. But underneath the skin, underneath that actual incision, you can feel that it's like embossed and it's raised. So doing something called scar mobilization, I'll do that with some CBD rub, and I'm basically just trying to break down that scar tissue as much as I can. For anyone that's gone through this injury will probably know the same feeling. You get that general stiffness in the area. It's hard to sometimes differentiate between what's the tendon and then what is just that scar tissue scrunching you up. So when you try and extend for the first time, all of this feels so tight. It's hard to understand which one's which. So making sure that you're mobilizing that scar early doors once it's sort of healed, which for me was around the 2-week mark. My scar was good to go. So now, banging on this blood flow restriction cuff. I've had a lot of comments and questions about this. So literally just bang it on the arm, press on, and it links to an app on my phone. So this is from Saga Fitness. So start, attach the cuff, and it's all sort of calibrated. So it's all ready to go, good to go. And I can set the pressure to what I like. At the moment, I've just been using 50. Begin the workout. And off it goes. So I'll wait for that to inflate up. And then the good thing about these as well, because they're controlled on my phone, it's not like the other ones where you have to pump it up with your hand. During my rest time, which is quite limited, I'm only doing 30 seconds rest in between sets, I can actually pause the workout and it will deflate a little bit. So obviously the whole premise behind this is anything from here down now is starting to fill with blood. It's getting all that kind of oxygenation and all the nutrients getting driven into that area to help promote healing and recovery. And you get a fucking wicked pump as well by doing it. So at the moment, I can't be picking up a 5-10 kilo dumbbell. The muscle can hack it, but the tendon can't. So in order for me to get the stimulus that I need from a muscular standpoint, I need to kind of deload and offset it from the tendon. So this works the muscle really well, but gives your tendon a break because you can't use heavy weight. There's a load more. I'm literally just scratching the surface as to how effective these are. If you read into them, there's so much value. But this is inflated now, so I'm literally doing 2 rounds. Set of 30 seconds rest, then 15, then 15, then 15. So that's a total of 75 reps, and I'll do 2 sets as well. So 150 reps per session with a hammer curl. So I'm not in supination or pronation, and to be honest with you, I will go with the big bad boy today. Yeah, we're serious now, and we'll just get started. So it's weird because the first rep or so it feels quite stiff, but it genuinely loosens up a little bit. So I'll just go through 30 reps. This is probably the least exciting content you've ever shot with me, Adam, but
edit in like some fucking massive dumbbell.
Just make the dumbbell like this big.
Edit in like body comedy. Yeah, buddy.
A lot of what I'm feeling as well, even though I've been mobilising the wrist, the forearm, and doing everything that I possibly can, I've still got quite a bit of stiffness in my wrist, quite a bit of stiffness in that elbow as well. But generally speaking, like I can feel at the moment I'm feeling this tweak a little bit. But the bicep's fine. Yeah, crack on. What I've also been doing, so this is week 4 that I've started loading the bicep directly. What I was doing prior to that was obviously a lot of the cross education work, a lot of conditioning, lower body, everything else. But as of week 3, I started to train this tricep as well. So I was using the blood flow restriction cuff, and I would do some very light resistance band pull downs. Obviously, I'm not training that bicep tendon directly, but the antagonistic muscle, the tricep, because I'm still extending the elbow, I'm inadvertently helping that range of motion in the elbow without training the bicep. So basically just doing everything that I fucking can to get this arm back in one piece. But got 28, 29. Someone's probably going to tell me I'm only on like 20 reps, but that's 30 reps. And then at the moment, I probably won't even bother deflating it because it's not that bad at the moment. But 30 seconds rest, and then I've got 3 rounds of 15 reps, and that's 1 set, 2 sets total. We will obviously continue to push the weight on the hammer curls, keep the volume the same, and then start introducing some supination as well into this position here, and maybe even pronation. But for now, this will do. And I'm training a lot at the moment. I can't really do a ton in here because it's obviously quite bare bones. So I'm off to the local gym in the town. I think it's like a Pure Gym or what's it called? The gym. Yeah, whatever. But obviously it's not equipped for strongmen, powerlifters, or even bodybuilders necessarily, but it's got machines that I can fit in. So when it comes to me doing like a lower body hypertrophy session, it's got the leg extensions, the leg curls, hack squats, pendulum squats. When it comes to the upper body, it's got things like proper lat pull downs, stuff like that. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to just continue to train the cross education with this hand on like a lat pull down, and then I might just start seeing how this one feels even with an empty cable, or on a chest press or something like that, and just see how it feels, because I do have full range of motion, but we're just taking it one step at a time. So once I can start getting onto some actual machines, start loading up some weights, I think I'll know when I'm good to actually get under a log press again, or get under whatever it may be. But yeah, it's just a bit of a boring process now. Well, last weekend with my surgeon, he was really happy with everything, and that was the final thing that I was sort of nervous about, because obviously if there's something not completely right with the surgery that he needs to go in and repair again, that's out of my hands. Everything else I've got control of. So he gave me the green light, everything's good, and we can just go from here now. So Yeah, as you can see, my hand is starting to really fill up. Big old 17-inch guns. Probably still bigger than yours, Mitch. Zoom in on his bicep. Give us a little bicep flex. The most awkward man. This is Mitch, the meatball Flowers, by the way. When it comes to obviously supplementation as well, so the whole purpose of this exercise is to drive as much blood into the area as I possibly can. And I'm not typically one to use any kind of pre-workout. If I do, it'll be something like a pre-focus or something that just gives me a bit of a caffeine kick. But at the moment, I'm using pre-pump, which is stim-free. So there's no stimulants in there, and the whole purpose of it, it's got vasodilating products properties, so it just basically drives loads of blood into the area that I'm training. So at the moment, I've got a wicked arm pump, partly due to blood flow restriction training, partly due to pre-pump. But it's doing the job. So, and again, you read the literature, there's stuff out there taking certain different nitric oxide and stuff like that can really help with blood flow. So blood flow is just the key at the moment to all of this. These are so handy. I think I'll honestly, once it's all said and done and my rehab's done and dusted, I'm back to it, I'll still keep these in. I'll definitely still keep them in. Because you can even, like, Mitch Hooper did a great video on them as well, but you can pop them on your forearm here, and then when you're training your grip, you don't have to be doing holds with 200, 250 kilo to work your grip. You can literally just be doing some basic flexion, extension work and stuff like that to kind of get the same response without smashing your tendons to bits. So, I mean, my hand is literally... I'll put the link to these in the description as well. I've had loads of people ask me what brand they are. And I got really lucky as well. Shout out Mitch Hooper. I dropped him a message before World's Strongest Man because I knew that he was endorsing these. And I just said, asked him a couple of questions on it. And Mitch Hooper, what a guy. He put me in contact with the CEO. And the next thing you know, me and the CEO were talking. And Steve, the CEO, sorted me out. So if you are an open weight strong man, if you're someone that, my arm's 17 inches, when it's healthy, probably best part of 20, their sizing doesn't currently go up that big for the arms. What you can do, you have to pay a little bit more, but you can get the leg cuffs. So these are technically actually leg cuffs. Same principle, legs and arms. But yeah, Saga Fitness, really good. Okay, so first things first, these things here, and I didn't realise how valuable these were going to be when I was given them. These are from Gods of Grip, so check them out. I bought this. They come in a pack of 3, level 1, 2, and 3. This is level 1. So the principle is you stick it on your finger and around your thumbs, like that, blah, blah, blah. Once that's on there, just by actually opening the hand, you're working the extensors in your forearm, like that, as you can see. And so much of strongman or any weightlifting is flexion all the time. You can crop up issues with tendonitis and stuff, and golfers and tennis elbow if you're not also working the extensors. So I would always use this. I used it before Europe's Strongest Man, before I did the nickel stones. My warm up was essentially this. Didn't realise how valuable it was, and they chucked in this for free, and I had no idea what this was. There's about 4 or 5 that I've got. This is the lightest one. It's £30, and it goes upwards of I think £80. Obviously, this is dead easy. I can do this all day. I started doing this the day after my rupture with this hand because I knew that I was going to have surgery. I knew that this arm was going to be immobilized for a set period of time, and doing this even after the rupture, day after the surgery, presented me with no issues. It wasn't causing any issues to that bicep tendon, but what it was doing was keeping my hand mobile, keeping the wrist, keeping the forearm working, and I wasn't training it in terms of I want to get stronger, I want to get my grip stronger. It was more about just the movement, the blood flow, help with recovery. So I still do this today, every single day that I do this, and I've been doing it ever since surgery, like I said. So I'll bang this on my hand and I'll do 3 sets of 20. And then I'll do 3 sets of 20 with this as well. And I'm upwards now, I'm still using this one, but with this one now I'm upwards of £60. And again, not trying to just get stronger, but just get the blood flowing, because my grip is typically very strong, but this this hand struggled. Even after the surgery, just the amount of inflammation and swelling that I had in the hand, I wasn't actually able to close a fist. So these helped massively. So if you don't already have these, get them. Even if you're not injured, they're valuable, especially this. So I'll literally just sit here now with my arm like that. And when I first started doing it, I was obviously a bit sort of tapped mentally. I really didn't want to bother the bicep, so I would just hold it here, and if I could feel any activation in that bicep tendon, I would stop. But generally speaking, I mean, it's good to go now. And what I'll also do is I'll double up. So this is keeping hand, wrist, forearm moving. Obviously, now I'm week 4, I'm loading the bicep again, but for the first 4 weeks post-surgery, this wasn't getting loaded. For the first 2 weeks, I was stuck in a sling, so none of this was working. So what I would do is use this, which is called a PowerDot. So this is essentially, it's the same principle as like a TEMS machine. It's electrical muscular stimulation. So that is the, I guess, ECU, that's the computer that turns it on, and it also acts as one of the pads. And then you put this on your body. So basically, I'll just show you now. If we do my bicep, for example, I'll pop that on there, like that. And then I'll put that one on that head, and then that one on the other, like that. And then it links up to your phone. So that's on now, linked up via Bluetooth. So I've gone on the app, turn it on, and then once it's connected, basically, when I was at home, couldn't move the arm, couldn't move the shoulder, couldn't move the lat, the pec. Muscle was just wasting. We were doing some of the the cross-education work to try and maintain as much muscle as we could, but then also sticking this on top of it. I mean, quite nerve-wracking the first time I stuck this on my bicep. I think it was around 2 weeks post-op. I stuck it on the bicep and could feel the bicep just twitching for the first time, so pretty scatty. I don't think this is going to connect. But yeah, these are really handy. I mean, a typical Compex machine, which is like the brand that you want to get, you're talking 500-600 quid. This was 180 quid. And the app has got so many functions on there. You can use things like warm-up, potentiation, so it just kind of gets the area engaged. There's different workouts for muscular strength, for muscular endurance, cool down, general massage, even things like, you know, if you're women, you've got PMS, anything like that, you can stick it on your belly, helps with that. When we're traveling, flying, you can put it on your lower body, on your calves, help again to stimulate the muscle for a bit of blood flow. So definitely a worthwhile investment, and I've been using this a hell of a lot, which is why I think the battery is just starting to die. So I don't think I'll be able to show you it working unless it powers on now, but it's all done via Bluetooth as well, so it's not going to work. But typically I would couple that with these, so I would just sit here, work on the arm, work on the hand, and then this is doing its thing, so you will literally just see the muscle be twitching like that. It's so strong, it goes up to 100, and the most that I've got it up on my bicep is around 20, 25, and any more than that, it's too much. They say as long as you can see the muscle moving and contracting, anything after that point, it's just your comfort levels. If it's too much, because it will literally do that if it has to, then just be a bit careful. But yeah, I've been putting this, I mean, you can see now it's had some heavy use. The pads aren't really sticking anymore, but this has been on the bicep, tricep, front delt, everywhere, literally pretty much since surgery, just to try and hold on to as much tissue as we can. So these things, really handy, do recommend them. Again, link for these stuff, we'll stick it in the description below. The last lot of sort of gadgets and gizmos that I've got for my sort of recovery and rehab and stuff. Firstly, you've got just a Theragun. This is obviously top of the range massage gun. I found being immobilized in that sling for like the first 2 weeks started to wreak havoc a little bit on my upper back, on my shoulder. Couldn't really move the arm too much, didn't want to, so I got Rachel to help me out with that a little bit. Obviously, a little bit of blood flow helps the muscles relax a little bit. The second one, I think this is probably the most expensive thing that I've got. This is an ultrasound machine, not your standard ultrasound. When I say ultrasound, people think like labour, pregnancy. This is ultrasonic waves, similar premise to shockwave therapy. So I couldn't go out and buy a shockwave machine because you're talking thousands. This was the next best thing. So if we take a look at it, you've got the gels, that's the normal gel. That's a cold gel. I don't really use any of those much, to be honest with you. This is the actual thing. It's obviously got no battery at the moment, so I can't show you. But basic premise is ultrasonic waves. So I will put this, and I did this for probably 4 months, 5 months. I was using it at the time on my patella tendon, which I had issues with. So quite literally, I would use some kind of topical. You're talking like a CBD. This is Herculeaf. I'd put that on the area, which just kind of acts as like the lubricant. And then this, you would turn on. Wouldn't hear it, couldn't feel it, nothing like that. And I would literally just run it along the area. And that is basically it. And what it does, again, tendons don't typically get any blood flow. So this helps kind of heat up the area a little bit, pushing ultrasonic waves in. And the whole premise with using this, you put the topical on, in theory, this drives it in more. So I started using this with the bicep. Again, I was all kind of stitched up with the plaster and everything else up until 2 weeks. When the sling come off, then all the plaster and everything come off, and I looked at the scar for the first time. Scar mobilization, really key. My scar is tiny, luckily, but if you've got a big scar, you're going to want to mobilize it. I would recommend stuff like CBDs, and there's just some general like massage stuff that you can do over the top of the scar. And then again, I use this directly onto the scar, and I started doing that 2 weeks post surgery. And then this has started as of, well, the last couple of days, as of week 4, actually on the bicep tendon itself. Now that I'm using the bicep tendon again, this would just be like a little added extra to help with the sort of recovery, blood flow, everything like that. So those are the main things. And then obviously the final thing, K-tape, which we've touched on. It looks crap, looks like it doesn't do anything, but generally I've always kind of rated K-tape personally. Different ways that you can do it. You see quite often if it's just like a bicep tendon issue, you would lay a couple strips down like that and then over to anchor it. The way that I've got it on at the moment, I don't know if you've seen, but I've posted it on my Instagram, and it's like this webbed design here. So this is less sort of supportive from a muscular standpoint, but more for like lymphatic draining. So when I put this on, and this is the second or I think even the third application now, the first time I put it on, like a day or so after, the amount of swelling that I felt had reduced. Even in my hand, I was feeling my hand sort of fully close again, and it just helped drain all of the swelling and all of that bruising out of the area. So you can actually look at it as well. There's photos online. People will do this over a massive bruise, and then like 2 or 3 days later, they'll take the tape off, and directly under where the tape was, the bruising's gone. So yeah, being a bit of a valuable thing. I mean, for the sake of £5 off Amazon, anyone can do it with a pair of scissors. Obviously, I've got my man Simon kind of helping me, telling me how to do stuff. So don't just wrap your whole body in K-tape and think you're going to be okay. But generally speaking, that's what we've been doing with all of this. It's not just me blindly going alone. I am, of course, a coach myself, and when issues arise like this, I'm trying to educate myself as best I possibly can, and that means not just doing quick Google searches. You know, I'm really delving into the literature and going at it from that stance. But then I've also got many coaches. My coach Shane from MST Systems. I've got Simon Hook from Aventus Therapy, Rocco as well. Rocco's the Giants Live physio. I've got a bunch of people in my corner that I can sort of refer these sorts of things to. So by all means, I would recommend you look into them yourself. Ultrasound machines, massage guns, PowerDots, all these sorts of things. But just bear in mind that you shouldn't just blindly follow someone's advice. You need to either understand it yourself or have people that understand it for you telling you what to do. So as always, bit of a disclaimer, medical professional, seek their advice. Don't just, someone off Instagram watching their stories doing a Q&A. So yeah, that's the gadgets and gizmos, guys. And that's pretty much all we'll probably do for the bicep. I think this will see me through 4 weeks post bicep rupture, full range of motion, and regaining some strength in there as well. So yeah, there you go.